Visitor is a story about a clever secret agent named Ausable who uses his quick thinking to outsmart another agent who tries to steal an important report from him. Ausable is a secret agent. He is waiting for a very important report. Another secret agent, Max, threatens Ausable with a pistol, demanding the report. Max wants the report. Fowler is a writer. He thought secret agents would be exciting and dashing like in books. But Ausable does not look like a typical secret agent at all. Ausable is fat, very fat. Fowler follows Ausable down a dark and old-smelling, musty hallway of a gloomy French hotel where Ausable has a room. The room is small, on the 6th and top floor, and not at all a setting for a romantic adventure. Ausable speaks French and German passably, which means just well enough. But he still has a strong American accent that he brought to Paris from Boston 20 years ago. Ausable can tell that Fowler is disappointed. Ausable says Fowler expected a spy who dealt with espionage, which means spying, and danger. He thought Fowler wished to meet him because he is a young and romantic writer, and he imagined mysterious people in the night, the sound of pistols, and drugs in the wind. Instead, Fowler spent a dull evening in a French music hall with a sloppy, fat man. Sloppy here means carelessly dressed. This man, instead of getting secret messages from beautiful women, only got an ordinary, prosaic telephone call for an appointment in his room. Ausable says Fowler has been bored. The fat man laughed quietly, without opening his mouth, chuckled to himself as he unlocked his room door and stood aside to let his frustrated guest enter. Ausable tells Fowler that he is disillusioned, meaning he's disappointed because something is not as exciting as he thought. But Ausable also says to cheer up his young friend. He says soon Fowler will see a paper, a very important paper for which several men and women have risked their lives. Ausable says someday soon that paper may well affect the course of history, meaning it could change how things happen in the future. He says that thought has drama, meaning it is exciting. As Ausable finishes speaking, he closes the door behind him. Then he switches on the light. As the light comes on, Fowler has his first real thrill of the day. Halfway across the room, a man stood there with a small automatic pistol in his hand. Ausable blinks a few times. He says Max, and sounds like he is speaking while breathing noisily and heavily, wheezed. Ausable tells Max he gave him quite a start, meaning he surprised him. Ausable asks what Max is doing in his room, as he thought Max was in Berlin. Max is slender, which means thin and a little less than tall. His face features suggested slightly the crafty, pointed face, countenance of a fox. Crafty means clever in a tricky way. Other than the gun, there was nothing especially menacing about him, meaning he didn't look particularly threatening or dangerous. Max quietly, murmured, says he is there for the report about some new missiles. Missiles are weapons directed by remote control or automatically. Max says he thought he would take the report from Ausable and that it will be safer in his hands than in Ausable's. Ausable moves to an armchair and sits down heavily. He says grimly, which means in a serious and unpleasant way, "I'm going to raise the devil with the management this time, and you can bet on it," meaning he is going to complain very strongly. He says this is the second time in a month that somebody has gotten into his room through that nuisance of a balcony. A nuisance is something that causes trouble or annoyance. Fowler's eyes went to the single window of the room. It was an ordinary window, against which the night was pressing blackly. Max says, with a rising voice, inflection, "Balcony?" He says, "No, a passkey," which means a master key that can open many locks. Max says he did not know about the balcony, and that it might have saved him some trouble had he known. Ausable says with extreme irritation that it's not his balcony. He explains to Fowler, glanced explanatorily, that this room used to be part of a large unit, like a bigger apartment. He says the next room through that door used to be the living room, and it had the balcony. This balcony extends under his window now. Ausable explains that you can get onto it from the empty room 2 doors down, and somebody did last month. He adds that the management promised to block it off, but they haven't. Max glances at Fowler, who is standing stiffly, meaning rigidly and without moving much, not far from Ausable. Max waves the gun with a commanding gesture, meaning a movement that shows he is giving an order. He tells Fowler to please sit down. Max says, "We have a wait of half an hour, I think." Ausable says moodily, meaning in a gloomy or sad way, 31 minutes. He says the appointment was for 12:30. Ausable wishes he knew how Max learned about the report. The little spy, Max, smiles evilly. He says they wish they knew how Ausable's people got the report. Max says no harm has been done and he will get it back tonight. Then he asks, "What is that? Who is at the door?" Fowler jumps at the sudden knocking at the door. Ausable just smiles. Ausable says that will be the police. He says that such an important paper as the one they are waiting for should have a little extra protection. He told them to check on him to make sure everything was all right. Max bites his lip nervously, showing he is worried. The knocking is repeated. Ausable asks Max what he will do now. Ausable says if he does not answer the door, they will enter anyway because the door is unlocked. He also warns that they will not hesitate to shoot. Max's face turns black with anger as he backs swiftly towards the window. He swings a leg over the sill, which is the bottom part of the window frame. Max warns Ausable to send them away. He says he will wait on the balcony. Max threatens to shoot and take his chances if Ausable doesn't send them away. The knocking at the door becomes louder, and a voice is raised, "Mr. Ausable, Mr. Ausable." Max keeps his body twisted so that his gun still points at the fat man, Ausable, and his guest, Fowler. The man at the window grasps the window frame with his free hand to support himself. Then he swings his other leg up and over the windowsill. The doorknob turns. Swiftly, Max pushes with his left hand to free himself from the sill and drop to the balcony. And then, as he dropped, he screamed once in a high-pitched way, shrilly. The door opens and a waiter stands there with a tray, a bottle, and 2 glasses. The waiter says, "Here is the drink you ordered for when you returned." He sets the tray on the table, skillfully, deftly uncorked the bottle, and left the room. White-faced, Fowler stares after him. He stammers, "But the police!" Ausable sighs and says, "There were no police." He says it was only Henry, the waiter, whom he was expecting. Fowler begins to ask, "But won't that man out on the balcony?" Ausable says, "No, he won't return." Ausable explains, "You see, my young friend, there is no balcony." The central theme of the story is about cleverness and quick thinking, also called presence of mind. Ausable, who does not look like a typical spy, uses his intelligence and ability to think calmly and wisely in a dangerous situation to trick Max. He makes up a believable story about a balcony and the police, which causes Max to jump out of the window to what he thinks is a safe balcony, but actually leads to his downfall. The lesson is that appearances can be deceiving, meaning how someone looks might not tell you who they really are. True intelligence and quick thinking are more valuable than just looking strong or dashing.